first tonight when Glenn Cummings was offered the position of president of the University of Southern Maine nearly 3 years ago. It wasn't clear whether he should be given congratulations or condolences. The job came with a lot of challenges.
We spoke with him then after he accepted the position, and he mentioned that he might like to come back to the show after a few years, so we agreed. Glenn recently sat down with us to discuss some of the greatest challenges he faced as he began his job and the changes that have been made during the first 3 years of his presidential tenure at USM.
Well, you know, certainly the university had been through a very difficult time financially and budget-wise. A lot of difficult decisions had to be made. We give a lot of credit to former President David Flanagan. He made some very, very difficult decisions, but really tried to put the budget in alignment, and he virtually came close to zero, still left a little bit of a deficit. But I think that the major work that he did is kind of upwriting that budget, and but it also left a lot of kind of bad blood.
Yeah, it's never fun to cut budgets, and that's what was going on. There was also a real challenge in enrollment because enrollment was declining at the time, and that's never a good trend
for a good trend, not for anybody.
A university. When you started the job in your first few months, what did you say, okay, this is what I have to focus on the most?
Well, the first thing is you need to balance that budget. You know, we're New Englanders, we got to pay our bills, and people won't believe in you. They won't send you money, they won't send you your kids unless they think you're stable. And so that's the first thing we did. And very pleased to report that when David Flanagan started, he had a negative $16 million deficit. He brought that to a negative $4. Today we have an $8 million reserve. So that's a big turnaround in 36 months financially. So that brought back some of the basic confidence. The second thing we did is we realized that we had an incredible amount of assets. Being in what some magazines say is one of the best small cities in America, we started to say, this is a huge asset. We've got great professors, we have excellent staff. How do we make our students really want to be here and really feel like this is an attraction? And they told us really clearly, number one, being in that Portland area, there are jobs and opportunities for us to do internships and be part of the workforce development of the state. So that was a big help for us.
Nobody gets into the academic world because they really want to do a lot of marketing, but that was part of the challenge, is you had to market USM, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And we began to realize we've got a great story to tell, and that's part of the reason why our enrollment has grown so much. It's grown within the state. It's also grown by about 16% just last year, and out-of-state students saying, I'd love to be in the Portland, Maine area. That would be very, very attractive to me. It's got culture, it's got art, it's got dynamic social life, and at the same time, it has those opportunities for workforce and work opportunities that they might not have otherwise.
When you started the job, I assume that you had sort of a vision of where you hoped USM would be in about 5 years. How are you doing in reaching that goal?
You know, honestly, when I sat there, I was thinking where we are today would probably be a 5-year project. It's been 3 years. So what we've seen is enrollment has been growing. This would be, in terms of the larger semesters, this is the 6th straight semester of significant enrollment growth, both in credit hours and in bodies. So we're seeing an enormous amount of progress there. Secondly, we're seeing that we're getting alumni to be able to come back from a philanthropic point of view and participating at a whole new level than they were before. So when we talk about the basic measurements, we're doing well. But the bigger issue, in the bigger kind of exciting news for us, is we're starting to really look at what we could do to create more workforce engagement, and we've created a whole new department so that all of our programs, all 50 of our programs now, have internships or a co-op or a clinical or a pathway to get them into a job. Our students are really clear with me. Help me get a job. I don't have the luxury to live on a trust fund. Help me get the job opportunities.
And you have to be thinking about, okay, not helping them get a job, but helping them be prepared so that when that job maybe disappears, they can go into another one or they can transfer to another one, because that is clearly what the future of the workplace is.
It definitely is a new world compared to where it was before.
Your first job in the academic world was teaching history in
Gorham High School.
Gorham High School.
I loved it.
Do you ever still get the chance to drop in on classrooms?
I do. In fact, I still teach one microeconomics class. I'm teaching it now, although I can't say I give it the full time and attention that I wish I could. But you know, just last night I taught microeconomics to a bunch of mostly freshmen, and I actually love it.
How are you doing on Rate My Professor?
yeah, probably a little bit sketchy there, but no, they seem to be a very good class. But what it does is it reminds me, what is it that our students need? And they tell me really clearly, first of all, I need somebody in this university who knows me, likes me, cares about me, and we've been really changing that. Secondly, be affordable. And we're one of the few universities in the country to drop our debt by giving more scholarships. And the third thing they said is give us real-world experiences that combine with excellence in the classroom. So those three things have been really the hallmarks of what we've been trying to do, and it's paying off.
There are people who don't watch television news because they say it's always negative. I don't want to see the negative stories. You have a positive story.
Well, thank you, and thank you for letting me share it.
Thanks.
It is a positive story. The student retention at USM has risen 6% in the last 3 years, and undergraduate admissions are up 8%. So that is a lot of positive growth.
Another compelling factor that was implemented under Glenn's direction is that every major in USM now has a pathway to an internship in more than 430 businesses and organizations in the state and beyond.
Glad he came back to talk with us.
That's right. It's nice to hear the good news.
Yes.